Why lots of work in progress is so difficult for businesses to recover from. This is an interesting topic. It's an interesting topic to me because we've got such an obvious example of a work in progress problem playing out in real time right now. What am I talking about? Of course, the Los Angeles port situation. They have fallen behind for COVID reasons, for rule reasons, for whatever reasons, they have fallen behind. And now we're seeing a backlog of ships backing up. Now, what's interesting about this is that, let's say today they return to exactly the same work that they were doing before. But notice that because of the slowdowns, we got 4 weeks of ships backed up and they just get back to exactly the same rate. Now, do you know what's going to happen? Hopefully you do. Hopefully you can think through this and go, hang on. If they are working at the same rate that used to continually move at the same rate, the boat would come in, the boat would leave, the boat would come in, the boat would leave, and all of these boats are going across the Pacific Ocean. But now we've got a 4-week lag when they're waiting to line up and get in. Now they get back to that same rate. Will they ever clear that backlog? Nope. Never clear the backlog. What is interesting is that they have to work faster than they were working before in order to begin to recover that backlog. Let's say that they do 2 times, just for easier math. So they're working twice as fast. Now they'll start to get into that backlog, and it won't happen immediately. It is still going to be some time, even if they manage to work twice as fast. They're like, right, let's just open up and we'll work 24 hours a day. It's still going to take some time to clear that backlog. It won't happen instantaneously. So they've got to maintain a 2 times speed. Now this is problematic. Do you know why? Because your risk goes up, or you've got to duplicate functionality. You got to build a whole nother port, or you got to find a way to actually get to a 2x speed. You got to find more people. You got to push everything faster than it was. But probably the 1x speed was close to capacity. So this is a big problem, particularly if they've got to build infrastructure or find more people and there's shortages. They potentially could never recover from this. Imagine that they only get up to 0.8 of what they were doing. Guess what? It seems like they're doing better than they were. 0.5, now they're at 0.8 of speed. But they're never going to clear that backlog. In fact, at 0.8 speed, the backlog will continue to get worse. And notice the problem of all of those boats sitting there, they're not looping back. You've just got this dead space, these dead ships that are sitting there doing nothing. They're waiting. They're waiting. And this is why lean manufacturing really made such a difference. It's like, okay, hang on, we want everything moving through. And what they realized is that you can only move the entire production line at the speed of the slowest component. The slowest part of that production line is as fast as the entire thing can go. And so you can drive the front of that, let's say the slowest piece is in the middle, everything goes at 2x speed, and then it's just going to backlog in front of that slow piece. And then beyond that, doesn't matter how quick you are, they will still keep coming out at that rate of the slow piece. And the only way to recover from this is to duplicate that slow piece if you can. Like if you have a second one, and you now have 2, where it's 1, 1, 1, and then the slow one is 2, then you've doubled the speed of that. Yes, there'll be some cost in terms of splitting it. You know, one has to go one way, but that should be relatively minor compared to the benefit of having that double speed thing. They're actually having the 2 machines. But this, if your slowest point is the LA port, and you're like, okay, we need to speed this up. this is not like a production line where you could potentially get another machine. You're like, well, that machine's going to cost us 100,000 to duplicate the LA port. Whew, man, you're talking about some heavy duty investment, and it's going to take a long time. And this can happen in your business. Don't think that this is just an isolated experience. Particularly if you can't see the work in your business, which is extremely common these days. It's like, well, what's going on in our business? I don't know. Everyone's working really hard, but getting a lot done. You're like, okay, well, why aren't we getting the results? You're like, I don't know. That's because you can't see the work. On a production line, you can see it backing up at the slowest production point. It's like, oh wow, look, they're all backing up behind there. It's very obvious. But most likely you are dealing in a reality where you don't have that physical backlog. It's all on a computer. It's not like the computer is going to suddenly slow down and go, oh, you know, I'm really chugging at this point. It's likely hidden because you can't see the work of your business. Strangely, this is a systems problem. You're like, what? How is that a systems problem? Well, you know, the cool thing about systems is that they force you to show you the work. Like doing the system brings the work out of the background, out of the hidden realms. And suddenly it's like, oh, there's that project, there's that project, there's that project, there's that project. Look, we can see that they're all stuck at this one point. That's the slow point. And if you have really cool software, then you can even track how long each of those points take. And you're like, okay, well, we can put 2 people onto that particular task and we'll split the jobs. And now that stops being your slowest. And then whatever the next slowest becomes apparent. It's like, oh, wow. But you have to be able to see the work in your business. And typically this is not so easily done. It's like, man, there's all these files everywhere. The dashboards are hard to come by. Maybe the dashboards aren't showing you the critical data. But if you set up your systems right, where you can track the work getting done and track the outcomes of that work, now you can see the work getting done and you can see where it's backlogging. This is cool. This gives you the capacity to pivot and choose and say, okay, well, we need to either slow down the amount of work coming through or we need to speed up this particular step. And you start to be able to judge between, well, hang on, if our fulfillment game is our slowest point, and we know that we can only take 4 jobs per month, let's just say that as an example, you might be much higher, you might be much lower. But there's no point in selling 10 jobs a month if all you can produce is 4. If you can only fulfill on 4, then you should sell 4. Because otherwise you'll backlog and you'll have pissed off customers. They'll be like, dude, we bought 3 months ago and you haven't started yet. Let alone the danger that you begin to rob Peter to pay Paul. And you're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to take the sale of today that we're not going to be able to fulfill on because I don't actually know when we're going to fulfill on it, sometime in the future, but I've got to pay my team now for work that they are doing on a client that I took their money and paid them to the previous clients, and suddenly you are in a negative cash flow position. You are on a little bit of a journey to bankruptcy. And all of the work and all of the effort and all of the late nights and all of the hard work goes to waste because you can't see the work in your business and you can't get the optics to know what is your slowest point in your business. Now, if you can sell 10 and you fulfill 4, then you should be able to go, okay, wow, we need to fulfill 2.5 times more. How do I do that? Where's the sticking point in the fulfillment? Maybe it's just 1 point. Everything else in fulfillment's running smoothly, but you've got this 1 point. It's like, all right, let's double or triple this slow point and we'll be able to clear 10. Sell 10, fulfill on 10. Sell 10, fulfill on 10. This understanding is typically difficult because you can't see what's going on in your business. And that's because your systems game is so poor that it's all just a mess. It all just seems random. It all just seems to be chaotic, surprising. You're like, oh, wow, we got another fire. Where did that fire come from? Oh, we got another fire. Hang on, we got fire and fire and fire. And this means you are working late, you are stressed, and you are broke. And suddenly you're like, you know what? I'm just going to take a job. If you would just take the time to work out underneath every part of your business, the engine that drives every single business area is systems. And your systems are made up of processes, and those processes create the results in each business area. You document this stuff out, and suddenly your team is freed from having to ask you. They also have the specific instructions so that they can complete the work consistently and accurately on time, so you don't have to pay them for mistakes. And what takes 1 hour takes 1 hour instead of taking 8 hours or taking 30 hours or taking 200 hours. Do not think that there's a linear relationship between error and work required. You might be lucky. A 1 hour job might just cause you 1 hour of lost work, but it may not. Particularly if a lot of work has gone on before that error gets picked up. And suddenly you're looking at 10 hours, 50 hours, 200 hours, lawsuits, payments that have bankrupt your whole business. And you're like, man, if only I had paid attention to systems. Yes, they're a bit like broccoli, but that's okay. They're also the key to revenue and profits and enjoyment and you fulfilling your dream life as an entrepreneur. It's your choice. Continue to operate as you are, or sort this out. Systems are the key. They are the engine room. They are the war room that enable you to get stuff done in business effectively. If you want surgical precision, if you want military style precision in your business, there's only one way to get that. And that is systems. All right, that's all I got for you. We shall see how this plays out. I don't know. The problem is that the problems that got them here haven't been solved. And it's unlikely that they will be able to operate and go, you know what, we need to get better than we were producing before just to catch up. Empty shelves are no fun. This is serious business. This is important. Food on the table is the number one priority for happy people. No food on the table, one problem. Food on the table. Logistics must be handled. It's a tough gig. I'd be trying to sort this out if I was the president. I'm like, man, whatever it takes, we got to get those boats offloaded and get them back to speed. Otherwise, the economy falls in a heap. And all of those 100-year productions to get your money back, whatever it is, the PE of 100, it's like, dude, none of that's coming true. It's more like a PE of like infinite. You're never getting your money back. That doesn't bode well for stock markets. And the opportunity, though, is for those that focus on how to do things effectively, how to do things efficiently, how to systemize your business, how to run your business without you, how to turn a profit. Guess what? What is coming is an opportunity. And that's super exciting. If you like this stuff, remember to subscribe. Click like, click subscribe. I hope you're enjoying the journey. I'm excited for where this is going. There is an opportunity for you, for me, for the entrepreneurs of the world to live our dreams and benefit all of our customers in that process. All right, that's all I got for you. Continuing this journey of systems creating results. I'll see you tomorrow.